My friend Tim over there in Alabama from the Meat Trappers channel. He's been putting in his raised beds and getting his vegetables growing already. And here I'm digging down into the snow just to light my fire for my Dutch oven. The fire started here. I'm gonna get 2 Dutch ovens going, and then I'll have my extra coals going there in case I need them. I'm gonna get 2 Dutch ovens going, one with a venison meatloaf and the other with a cornbread. And be a good supper for later on. Yeah, Frisbee. He's having fun though. He is. You know, I've been reading stacks of my old journals lately, and what an eye-opener that has been. For instance, I was reading the other day where my brother and I had put up the insulation and the pine boards in the living room at the camp in New Hampshire. And thinking back on that, it seems like it was no more than a decade ago. But the date on the page was August 24th, 1995. That was 20 years ago. And in my mind's eye, looking back, it's like no freaking way was it 20 years ago, but it was. 20 years have pissed by that fast. And if the next 20 years piss by that fast, I'm going to be 72. Got a lot in store for this year, man. A lot in store. A lot of changes. I've gone full circle. You know, it was my childhood dream to own 100 acres of land. And as I mentioned before in one of my videos, how I ended up acquiring 293 acres, which was almost 3 times my pipe dream. And then I've been selling it off, and probably within a few months or so, I'm going to put my homestead on the market, my house with 124 acres. And then I'm just going to bounce back and forth between the 2 cabins and do some traveling. I'd like to hook up with a lot of my YouTube friends, travel around, meet a lot of my, you know, more of a dedicated following, if you want to call it that. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to do some canoe trips. Just a lot in store for you guys. Once my feet are back in New Hampshire soil again, life's going to get really interesting, and I'm going to have a blog going on. All of that stuff is in the works. It's going to be an interesting year, folks, so stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming across my channel. Cheers. I'm just going to beat up a couple of eggs here. I'm going to add my venison. I don't generally use breadcrumbs. I use oatmeal instead. Most of the breadcrumbs got preservatives and stuff in it. And oatmeal works really good. Nice replacement. And it's healthier. And you'd never know there was oatmeal in there. Generally, I use the quick oats for the meatballs and meatloaf, but I don't have quick oats here. I got the old-fashioned kind, but that'll be just fine. And I'll add a pound of venison burger here. This here is our Uncle Jim's meatball mix. And it's got all the spices in there. And it makes a really nice meatloaf as well. So, I'll throw that in there. And then maybe a 1/4 cup of milk or so. Now you got to be really precise with your measurements, as you can see. Oh, maybe 3/4 cup of oatmeal. Get that mixed up. Now quite often I like to add some crushed tomatoes to it. And this is a jar of crushed tomatoes that my friends Linda and Vicky canned down in Tennessee. They sent me up some goodies there. They sent me up a bottle of moonshine from Tennessee, but I'm saving it for when my buddy Joe comes. So I'm going to add in, maybe half of the jar of the canned tomatoes in here. And it gives a nice flavor to the meatloaf. I don't always add it, but I've got these here, and I'm going to go ahead and put those in. Now, you'll never know that there's oatmeal in there. It tastes no different than the breadcrumbs, but it's much healthier. Okay, I don't have any wax paper here at the cabin, so I put out a piece of tin foil. I'm going to put the meatloaf here on the tin foil. I'm going to flatten it out. My friend Aaron from the Backyard Meat channel makes a meatloaf in a similar manner. But we all have our own thing. Now I take some sauteed onions and peppers. I put them in the middle there. Now I usually add cheddar or pepper jack cheese, but I ate all of that. And what I have left is just mozzarella, so I'm going to throw that in. Oh, something like that ought to do it. And then I'm going to bring this up and seal it back together into a loaf. I'm going to take a bread pan. And in the bread pan it goes. Okay. There we go there. And the potatoes there. And what I did there is I used my Uncle Jim's roasted potato seasoning mix. And then I'm going to throw that in the Dutch oven on the coals. That pot is ready to go. I'm going to give the meatloaf a little bit of a head start before I put the bread on. So I'm going to let that cook for, half an hour maybe. And then I'm going to spread some more coals out and get that cornbread going. And then in a little while, should have some good chow. Now, I'm whipping up a cornbread here. I'm not doing anything spectacular. I'm not even using a homemade recipe. I'm just using the simple Jiffy mix, you know. They're like $2 for $1. But I'm doctoring it up just a little bit, and it's going to be actually pretty tasty cornbread. I put in less milk than it had called for. Now I'm taking a can of sweet corn, and the liquid from the sweet corn in about half the can. I'm going to mix that right in there. A lot of times I throw hot peppers or some pepper jack cheese, but like I said, I already ate all that and I don't have any. But the liquid from the corn and the corn itself will really doctor up that cheap mix. It'll be mighty tasty. Okay, I've got these two little baking dishes in here. They're both sitting on a tuna can just to lift them up off of the direct heat. And I'm going to get this set on the coals as well. I got both pots on. It's all looking good. Certainly melted some snow around the pots, that's for sure. Working out a lot better than I thought, because I really thought the snow would melt and that crater would fill with water, but it didn't. There's no water collecting. Everything's working out really, really good. Excellent. Plenty of coals here. Everything's cooking really nice here. Yes, sir. Meatloaf and potatoes are done. This one out. we're done, man. Potatoes, I like them just a little bit browned up like that. And the meatloaf, that looks nice. The meatloaf with all the cheese and the sauteed onions and peppers inside in the middle there. Nice little cornbread there. Oh, look at that. That's nice. That's nice right there. Not really scorched, really. Potatoes. Yeah, all right. That's going to be some good eats right there. Cabin cooking. All right, cornbread. Look at that. Oh, it's falling apart. Look at that. Oh, that's good stuff. It's going to be good eats.